Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Lynn Lowdown Election Special. And today we are going to be talking about ballot question 2, ranked choice voting. And we have a special guest with us, Mr. Evan Falchuk. He is joining us today on the show. Evan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
You know, it's a beautiful day in September. I mean, it went from summer to winter. I swear.
Yes.
But we're going to discuss question 2. You know, there's a lot to talk about. Election is fast approaching. Early voting already started in some places. So, I mean, before we get started, Evan, can you just introduce yourself to the public?
Sure. So I'm Evan Falchuk. I'm the board chair of the Yes on 2 campaign. We're supporting ranked choice voting. I grew up here in the Boston area and have been a business executive. I ran for governor back in 2014 as an independent candidate. And I've been involved in ranked choice voting because I feel like we need to improve our democracy. And it's more than just electing new people. It's about changing the structure of how we elect them so that we can have candidates who are more representative of the communities that they're here to serve.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, a yes or no vote, you know, what in your mind or in your opinion, what does a yes or no vote look like for question 2?
So a yes vote would implement ranked choice voting in Massachusetts. And what ranked choice voting is when you have an election with multiple candidates, it gives you a chance to rank them, your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, and so on. And the way that the votes are counted makes sure that the winner has a majority. One of the problems we have in America these days is that there are people winning elections with 20, 30% of the vote. And that's not fair. And we need to change the way we vote to get the kinds of outcomes that we deserve.
So it's sort of like the popular vote, basically, almost sort of, because you know how in 2016 we had, current President Trump, he won the Electoral College, but when everybody looked at the popular vote, Hillary Clinton had won the popular vote. So it's kind of like that. Am I correct?
It's solving a similar kind of problem. So, for example, in the 4th congressional district, there was an election to replace Joe Kennedy that just happened, and there were 9 candidates running in that race in the Democratic primary, and the winner got 22.5% of the vote. So that means that 77.5% of voters voted for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And with ranked choice voting, we would actually know what a majority of voters wanted. Mm-hmm. And what it does more than anything is build consensus, because candidates have to ask their opponents, supporters, to rank them as their second choice. Mm-hmm. So if I'm running and I see a sign outside of someone's house for another candidate, under our current system, I don't go knock on that door. But in a ranked choice election, I would go knock on that door and find out if there's a way that I could agree on some issue with that voter so that they could rank me as their second choice. So it builds consensus, and it gives voters more choices and a greater voice, which I think these are things that people are desperate for these days in the way our politics is being run.
It seems like that. It seems like this no on vote. It would also give candidates the ability to go talk or have discussions with voters who may have never thought of even voting for them, who already had their mindset on someone else, but maybe they listen to another candidate and what they stand for. They could give that an option. Oh, okay, I like what this guy's saying. Maybe this guy's my front runner, and this guy, he'll be my runner up.
Yeah, you see, I mean, and it's very simple. And what happens these days is that candidates spend all their time going after their base voters, and they don't pay attention to everybody else. And there's a lot of us in the everybody else category. Right now, candidates have an incentive to divide us rather than bring us together. They have an incentive to go after and listen to the big money as opposed to the voters. And with ranked choice voting, we can change all that. And it's a simple upgrade to democracy.
Now, Now, do you believe the voters will have a understanding of the system if it was implemented, or a little more? They just need to be a little, they just have this discussion we're having to better understand it.
Yeah, look, the polling shows that when voters have heard about ranked choice voting, they support it by about 15 points.
Mm.
And the opportunity for us is to make sure we can educate as many voters as possible as to what it is. Once you hear it, it's simple. If you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and rank your donuts, you can rank candidates too. And we do this in our lives all the time,
Yeah.
whether we're picking something to eat, looking for a car, picking a job. I mean, we rank what we like best all the time, but we don't get a chance to do that in politics. So it is very simple, and the support for it is quite strong. We have, for example, former Governor Deval Patrick is one of our honorary co-chairs. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley is one of our honorary co-chairs. Tanisha Sullivan, the head of the Boston branch of the NAACP, is one of our honorary co-chairs. And Ed Markey has endorsed it. Senator Warren has endorsed it. Maura Healey has endorsed it. So there's a lot of people who have a great deal of insight into how to improve our democracy that are hugely supportive of what we're doing with question 2, and they're all going to vote yes on 2.
Mm-hmm. And it would probably have an impact on Massachusetts as well. Can you talk about just the overall impact that this ranked choice voting would affect on Massachusetts elections, or how elections are in Massachusetts, I should say?
Yeah, it'll apply to any state race, like state legislature, state senate. If you're running for Congress, if you're running for Senate at the federal level, it'll apply to that too. If you're running for governor, for lieutenant governor, all the statewide offices. And what it would mean is that you could go and vote for who you really like. If you have an election, like when I ran as an independent, there were many people that said, I like you, but I can't vote for you because you can't win. Mm-hmm. And that means that people feel as if their vote is wasted because they can't vote for who they really like because they're worried about maybe it will make the person that they don't like end up getting elected. And that's not right. Voters should always be able to vote for who they really like and not have to play strategist around, well, I need to think about what's going to happen. So it'll change the way people run elections as candidates because they'll always be looking for ways to agree with each other so they can get the second and third place votes from the other voters. Mm-hmm. It'll change the influence of special interests on politics because you have to get a majority. You have to get the support of voters all across the district and across the political spectrum. And it'll give voters more choices. It encourages people to run. There's a lot of studies that show that it increases the number of Black and Latino candidates who run. It increases the number of them who win. And it increases representation of underrepresented communities in ways that are just so needed. And I think it would be such a benefit to our system to increase that.
Yeah, and you just touched on it a little bit, when a voter would say, I like you, but I already have the person who I'm voting for, I can't vote for you. But so, like in a hypothetical, so the voters will probably will think like this is, they'll force voters to think into the hypotheticals, but it really doesn't. So what would you say to voters that may have this hypothetical thought of, I'm going head-to-head matchups with ranking these voters. It might take away votes from my candidate or something like that. What would you say to, the voters who have these second thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, with ranked choice voting, that never happens anymore. It just doesn't happen. You don't take votes from anybody. Your vote gets counted every single time. So let's say you had 3 people running, to make it really simple. And in the first round of counting, someone had 40% and someone had 35%. And then the last 25% was held by the third place voter, the third place candidate. That third place candidate would now be eliminated. Mm-hmm. And everybody who voted for that third place candidate, their votes would automatically transfer to their second choice. Mm-hmm. So now we count again. And if someone had more than 50%, the election's over. And it would happen, obviously, in that case. But that's powerful for voters.
Mhm.
Your vote is never wasted. It always counts. And you never have to play games and think about who to vote for strategically. You can just say, I like this person. I want to vote for her.
Mhm.
And I think she'd be the best representative. And if not enough people agree with me, okay, my vote will transfer to my second choice. But it's the voice that it gives voters that to me is so compelling.
Mhm. And you definitely touched on some of the elected officials that have already backed down. And you talk about Ed Markey, Deval Patrick, Ayanna Presley. You know, what got them? What got them involved? What got them involved in backing of this yes on question two?
Well, so many of these elected officials and former elected officials are people that have worked for their whole careers to make our democracy better. And one thing that's clear, and Senator Warren talked a lot about this when she was running for president, is that we need structural reform. We need to do more than just elect some new people. We need to change the way we elect people so that our government represents the people. And anyone who's studied ranked choice voting sees that it does that. It's been in place in different parts of the world for more than 100 years, and voters like it. I mean, here in the United States, they've been using it in different cities. Maine passed it in 2016 for statewide elections, and the voters there really like it. Very good polling. In St. Paul, Minnesota, 92% of people that have used ranked choice voting say it's simple and that they like it. So it's no surprise that the support of people that we've been honored to receive, for people like Governor Patrick, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, Attorney General Healy, and so many others, is because this is what they care about, and they want to see our democracy better. They want to see more representation. They want to see more choices. They want more voice, and they want more consensus. And I admire them a lot for doing it.
Yeah, you just touched on it. That Maine, has ranked choice voting at the state level. Also, there's also 8 other states that have ranked choice voting in their jurisdiction, and 5 states have adopted it, but they have yet to implement it in local elections. So, is this thing going to be slowly going to pick up nationwide? Do you think more states and are going to pick this up throughout in the upcoming years?
I think so, and I think the fact that Massachusetts does this really accelerates that movement. I mean, look, in America, our elections are run by each of the 50 states, so every state has to make its own reform. But Massachusetts is a big deal. I mean, this is a place that people look to as an innovator. I mean, we've led the charge on so many changes to make our democracy better that this is natural for us to do this next, and then. We'll see. But I think many other states are going to follow.
Mm-hmm. And to follow that, do you think this will, maybe in the close near future, we'll see this implemented in the presidential election?
Yeah, I hope so. In Maine, this will be the first time that the presidential election will have ranked choice in it in Maine. That's a big deal. Again, it means that there's no more spoilers. It means that there's no one can win in Maine with less than 50% of the vote. That's a big deal. If you look back to 2016, it happened in multiple states where the difference between Trump and Clinton was the third party votes. What should always happen in a democracy is that the majority should win. And if we're getting results that don't reflect what the majority wants, then we need to fix that. And ranked choice, if we have that in presidential elections, I know would make a big impact.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, Evan, for people that want more information on question 2, or if they have questions for you or just want to learn more about it, please let them know how they can reach you or how they can contact you.
Yeah, the best way to get involved in this campaign is to go to yesontorcv.com. That's yesontorcv.com. We have a ton of information in there about ranked choice voting. You could read all the studies you want. You can volunteer. We have thousands and thousands of volunteers across Massachusetts, and we need all the help that we can to help make this into a reality.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot one of our honorary co-chairs, Representative Adrian Madaro, who is also a great leader. He was one of the co-sponsors of our bill in the legislature to implement ranked choice voting, and it's people like him, leaders, young people that are working all across the Commonwealth to make this into a reality. So go to yesonto.rcv.com, and we'll get you involved.
All right. Okay, Evan, thank you so much for coming. I definitely just learned a lot about question 2. So thank you for comking on. And
great. Vote yes on November 3rd.
Yeah, there you go. Election November 3rd it's right around the corner. So, it'll be here in no time soon. So make sure you're registered to vote and make sure to go out to those polls and vote. Evan, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate this. Hope you have a great day. All right, you guys have been watching. You guys have been watching the Lynn Lowdown Election Special, Ballot 2 Question, Ranked Choice Voting. I'm your host, Mukala Kabongo. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.